Welcome back, traders. My name is Manuel Fonseca. Welcome to Smart Habits. In today's video, we're going to talk about why your order blocks fail. So today's class will be more theoretical, but if you really want a step-by-step breakdown class about order blocks, I have already one in this channel. I suggest you to see it, which is in the first comment below. So the false belief about the order blocks, and most traders think that order blocks don't work because they're popular, let's say. So they change definitions most of the times, add confirmations to it, or look for better zones, right? The problem is rarely the order block itself. What the order blocks really are, as the order blocks are areas of interest, not guarantees. And this is the thing, okay? They represent institutional activity, right? Potential reaction zones, which is the keyword potential reaction zones, and areas requiring confirmations, right? So they don't mean automatic entries. In that class, I explained that, for example, we in this theory of the smart money concept, we have order blocks that are called extremes or decisionals, right? The name decisional comes from make a decision, so that you use that order block as a potential area where you're likely to make a decision in terms of buying or selling. All right. And in the extreme is just a order block that has more probability of having a reaction. That's it. So one of the first mistakes I made when I learned about order blocks was that I executed every order block I saw in the market, and that diminishes a lot the quality of my execution because I didn't consider some things that I gotta highlight now. So the mistake number one I made, it was ignoring market structure, right? And market structure is just paramount for any type of strategy you use, okay? So order blocks must align with structure. So a common error is trading bullish order blocks in a bearish structure. I gotta make a parenthesis here because sometimes they do work, but just if you understand an advanced market structure and when is likely the market to make a reversal. So then those order blocks are tradable because you understand why you're executing them against the trend, okay? Or trading content trend reactions, right? If you have seen most of the times when the price, let's imagine it's in an uptrend. Let's make a small draw here. In an uptrend, for example, right? When the market reacted to certain zones, like for example here or here, it's because there's likely to be an order block in a previous structure, right? So probably here is an order block, right? Over here is another order block, and that's why when the price reaches this area, has a potential reaction. But it doesn't mean that you have to execute all of them, right? Now, without a structure alignment, probability drops. So the order blocks that in this example you must execute are those that are bullish order blocks. So those that are contained here or here, right? That are aligned to the main trend line that in this example is bullish, right? So mistake number two, no higher time frame context. I suffer a lot with this thing, okay? Because I used to base my trades on 15 minutes time frame, and I just base all my analysis on it, right? But that was a big mistake because context define validity. It means that many traders mark order blocks everywhere because they are everywhere in the market, right? They ignore where the price is in the bigger picture and a good order block. So they ignore where the price is in the bigger picture. A good order block in a bad context still fails. So let me draw you here a small example that this is something I did when I was learning this concept. That imagine that I was executing this impulse in 15 minutes time frame. So if you see this in 15 minutes time frame, you may think this is a bullish trend, right? However, in a bearish trend line, or for example, in 4-hour trend line or time frame, we got this structure which is bearish, right? So the market is in this and coming from a bearish reaction. So another block will be potentially here, right? So since I'm just thinking in a bullish trend, which was why that happened to me, I would look for bullish order blocks, for example, here. Since I didn't pay attention to the main context or time frame context, when the price reacted here, I put my order here, and then the price continue pushing now, right? Why? Because the main trend line was bearish. So the mistake number three, I'm highlighting here all the mistakes I have done, and still sometimes I do them. I have to be very honest with you because I am a human being, right? So I also make mistakes, and this is one of the one I also lived by day by today sometimes, right? And it's like entering without proper confirmation, right? So touching the zone is not a signal. So traders lose because they enter immediately at the order block. Don't wait for the reaction, ignore the regression or the continuation signals, and this is the problem, right? Definitely confirmation protects execution, and this is something I have already explained in the videos here, but I'm gonna put you an example right here. Let's imagine that you are in this type of structure in the market, right? Something like this. We are in a bullish trend, right? Now, you already know the concept of order blocks, and you're still hesitating about what is it. Again, guys, I kindly suggest you to watch my video where I explain it. But let's imagine that here is placed an order block, right? So you also see here another order block. But you see again the market and you see here another order block. Now the question is, what is the order block that will work? Well, the key word here is confirmation. So you would need to the market to get to these areas. And if the market makes a confirmation right here, execute the order, right? It's already confirmed. But if it doesn't do the confirmation, there's no reason to execute any order here. Anyway, I know you have done it, and me as well. We have entered without confirmation. So we got certain happiness, and then boom, goes to the next area. And the same, let's wait for the confirmation. And if it does the confirmation right here, buy, you buy. And even with the confirmation, and this is a reality we need to accept, and personally sometimes it hurts. Even if you got a confirmation here, it can go to stop loss. And even if you have the confirmation here, it can keep continuing down, right? It may change the trend, and you don't have any power to diagnose that, right? Sometimes it happens. But at least if you have 3 losses in a row, 1, 2, and 3, you are being a professional trader, executing the orders as the trading plan says. And it is much more valuable to have 3 losses in a row that are part of a sample of a statistic of your trading method or strategy that having win out of the trading because you cannot measure that. Now, the mistake number 4 is poor risk management, right? So even good order blocks lose. That's something that I just said. Common issues: oversized risk, stop placed emotionally, not predefined invalidation, and losses feel bigger when the risk is unclear, right? So I know you have some setups or certain strategies provide some setups that are the ones you execute in the market, but also it comes from the ego, right? When you oversize the risk of your trade, because that is a proof that you want to be validated by the market, and even the good order blocks lose, right? And so when you do that, the regret is enormous. So my piece of advice is that have a consistent strategy that defines the risk by each order you have. Order blocks help us to understand where the stop loss could be placed or not, because order blocks, as we have said before, attracts institutions to mitigate those areas. With that information, you will be able to place a proper stop loss. And this is the mistake number 5, the one I left, and it was a little bit harsh or difficult to overcome. That was over trading order blocks. So more zones doesn't mean more profits. So market too many order blocks leads to decision fatigue, impulsive trades, inconsistent execution. So I'm very sure you have lived it, and it is when you think, let's imagine this, that we're in a bullish trend. We're going to change that. All right, we're in a bullish trend, right? But for any reason, the market just changes the direction, right? What is the problem? You start watching order blocks here, order blocks here, order blocks here, and you start seeing plenty of order blocks. What is the mistake here? You tell yourself a lie that says, oh, I am executing an order block, which is part of my trading plan. So I execute the order full, right? Because then you start executing every order block, and if it doesn't have a confirmation or it is not properly validated, you're just lying to yourself, right? To lie to yourself, it happens too frequently because we're not used to lose. Here I have a small reflection from myself that comes from video games. That's something that happened to me, and then it happens to you. You need to understand why it happens to you. I mean, when you have impulsive trade, or you just trade every order block. Personally, it was difficult for me to understand that every time I play a soccer match at FIFA 20, in FIFA with the video, when the machine was better than me and it was kicking my ass, literally, I restarted the game and then I play it again. And when if the machine started winning again to me, if I can't not win the match, I restarted again, and that was a personal problem of myself. I didn't want to lose those matches, right? But in trading, it happens the same because that problem of accepting lose portrays on trading. So I didn't want to lose my orders. So every time I wanted to win at the market, it kicks my ass multiple times. And in the market, there is no reason. And that's something that gave me a lot of maturity in terms that I didn't handle losses. And it comes from that memories. And if that happens to you, probably comes back for that. Or not, probably you're so good at accepting losses. And probably this example I just explained to you is what an idiot. I don't know, my friends. But the thing is that you just need to be very honest and accept that thing of yourself and start fixing those problems. Because you tell you that lie that is the order block that you and no. So in the smart habits execution filter, this is something I just wanted to name it this way, but this is the thing. Order block must pass all through. So bear in mind the next. Before trading, ask the next. Is the structure aligned? Is the high time frame context clear? And is a confirmation present and the risk? These 4 questions will filter any order block you want to execute. Because if one of the questions is do not execute the order, right? It says before trading ask. No, it's just do not execute the order. If one of these questions is no, don't. Then I told myself that if I don't have a confirmation, and you can see it in my TikTok channel or all my social media, that I always have a confirmation part, I don't execute an order because it's just part of my trading plan. Of course, every trade I have has certain risk management rules. Otherwise, I wouldn't trade that, right? And most of the times, because it happens, sometimes the mistakes I still have, is that probably the structure is not properly aligned, or the higher time frame may be clear for me, but for example, I am executing sales in 1 hour time frame, but in a weekly time frame is a bullish trend, and it simply continues with the weekly time frame, and it's normal. But you realize that after order block is invalidated, and you just need to deal. Remember next, my friends, order blocks fail because execution fails. Simply, fewer signs, clear rules, calm executions. When you see your trading chart full of order blocks, ask the previous question I just suggested you, and also filter them with the information I provided in the video of order blocks. And then you will, of the 8 order blocks that you see in the market, you will highlight at least maximum. And in those, it doesn't mean that you will execute order there. No, you need to have a confirmation. And in those 4, probably 2 will have confirmation. Once, and now that you have that reduction or refinement of the order blocks, your ratio reward will increase because you're doing a proper job filtering the order blocks, right? Now, friends, if you really like this type of videos, subscribe to my channel or for mentorship style, right? For smart money concept education and focus, rules, and structure. And of course, discipline, because this is about now. And before you go to the charts, my friend, I suggest you and encourage you to leave me a question. If you have any questions, revise this video as many times as you want, and leave me a comment if you like this type of information. Share it with a friend that wants to understand trading the most. And please hit the subscribe button. See you in the next video, my friends.